All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with us this evening as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions. Grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear and you're ready to go, please drop me a one in the chat so we can get this session started. All right. Good evening, JC. Appreciate it. Benit, thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Hold on. Make sure everybody has control over their microphones. Okay. And we all set. All right. So let me close out of here and head on over to the Forex factors so we can check out everything that happened today. So we got GDP claimant count came through. Forecast was 20,000, came through at 25.7, so it missed it, came in over. That didn't seem to budge the pound too much as interest rates, expected interest rate hikes pretty much driving the pound right now. We got the unemployment rate came in at 4%, so just over the 3.8% there. And then tonight, got some bright red folders here, 10 o'clock and 11:10. So we've got out of New Zealand, we've got the official cash rate expected to hold at 5.5. So let's see. Let's see what happens. See if we get a surprise there. So previous was 5.5, and this forecast is 5.5. So we'll see if they look to hold rates. And then at 11:10, we've got the Reserve Bank of Australia, Governor Lowe speaking at 11:10 p.m. So we'll see what happens, and that'll be right as we close out. So we'll keep an eye on those NZD pairs and also those Aussie pairs as well. Now tomorrow, we got good news, right? We've got Bank of England, Governor Bailey is speaking. That's always interesting, to say the least. 8:30 tomorrow, we got CPI, right? This is what people have been talking about last week. All this week so far is what's going to happen with the U.S. CPI. What's that going to mean for the Fed and their decisions moving forward with interest rate hikes? How much are the interest rate hikes already priced in? Which we see the dollar declining, which is kind of weird looking at the dollar because bond yields went up, and typically you see some dollar strength, but it continued to sell off. So we'll see what happens with the CPI tomorrow. It should be quite interesting. We love volatility. We'll make do either way. All right. So we see the CPI month over month is expected to be in at 0.3%, and year over year at 3.1%. Core CPI, which is the main thing we want to take a look at, is at 0.3. So we expect it to come down from the previous number, that core CPI 0.4. So we shall see. It's going to be interesting, but this is what everybody's waiting on tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And then also tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have the Bank of Canada monetary policy report rate statement. So we're expecting 25 basis points there. That's the forecast. So we'll see if they come through with the 25 basis points. And then, of course, we've got the press conference to follow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time there. So lots to pay attention to in regards to tomorrow and some of the volatility that we can get. As a matter of fact, starting tonight at 10 p.m. With New Zealand and their rate statement. Clicking on over to Trading Economics, we can see that U.S. small business optimism is at a 7-month high. We'll see how that goes tomorrow with the CPI data coming out. We see the Swiss franc, right? This was key. I had an opportunity to look at my charts quite a bit today, and that Swissy, man, is doing some damage. So we see Swiss franc appreciated to 0.88. 88 cents against the USD, touching its strongest level since January 2021 as investors dumped the greenback after the Federal Reserve official signal that the central bank was nearing the end of this tightening cycle. It should be interesting going forward on the US dollar, right? We know we've been bouncing back and forth in that range technically, so we'll see as we take a look at our charts. At the same time, concerns over a global economic recession due to sticky inflation and borrowing costs at multi-year highs boosted demand for the safe haven currencies. And we know that the Swiss franc is a safe haven, okay? The Swiss National Bank hiked this key rate 25 basis points to 1.75 in June and flagged another potential rate increase in September, underscoring that risk of second round effects to inflation remain high despite the current slowdown in headline and core figures. The bank also reiterated that it was ready to intervene in the FX market if needed to support the franc. So we're seeing some strength there. Right? A few different things. There's a whole lot packed into that paradigm. Right? The beautiful thing about technology and information is that we all have access to it. Right? And that's the amazing thing about trading these markets as retail traders. We just have to know where to go find the information. So we are seeing some strength out of the Swiss franc, and we'll take a look at that as we check out the charts. US steadies, you know, the future steady. That's always the case before key fundamental data. We'll take a look at crude oil, right? Futures edged above, and I think that was it Joy who put the article, the oil article in the Discord? That was Ryan. What's up, man?
Good What's evening. The deal, bro? You all right?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Glad to hear your voice, brother. Man.
Glad to be here, dude.
Yep. Yeah. So Joy posted that article, right? In the Discord regarding crude. So we see that the futures went above $74 a barrel on Tuesday, recouping some of the losses from the previous session and hovering close to their highest levels of the month. And supply cuts by top crude exporters Saudi Arabia and Russia are expected to tighten the market. So we'll see. Always something going on with the oil these days, especially with Russia and always Saudi Arabia. So we shall see what happens with that. Maybe we'll get time to take a look at that on the charts. Ryan, anything out there fundamentally that you caught on to that we didn't cover?
No, sir. Nope.
All right. Pretty clear cut. All roads point to CPI tomorrow for the US. So we'll see what happens there. Any questions regarding fundamentals, anybody? No. We're all good. All righty. Well, take a look at that DXY. And we can see that it's making that move back down, right back into that level. Same old, up and down, up and down, up and down. So we'll see if we eventually break through these key support levels here and see the dollar continue to decline. Tomorrow should be interesting, right? You never know. It's been here before. So that's where we are on a DXY. Moving to the downside, we're right back into those support levels. Pretty clear cut and to the point. Any questions on the dollar? No? All good. All right, so let's jump into some pairs. I'll give you guys first shot tonight. Any particular pairs you guys want to look at before I do my usual thing? Any pressing pairs or orders out there that we need to take a look at? Gold. All right. That's it. It's gonna be a quick session.
Any USD card?
USD CAD.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
CAD Swiss too.
CAD Swiss. Yep. That I think I was playing that to break out, and it did, if I'm not mistaken. CHF. All right, USD CAD. So let's take a look at gold first. Actually, Ryan, you see the latest update? They've got the pairs back in order. I couldn't believe it.
Did they?
Yeah. They moved some stuff around, which I couldn't find it.
I need to refresh.
Yeah. So finally, Joy, is it DCHF? Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the gold. So we'll go there and let's look at it. Right? So we know from the higher time frame, we get up around that 2000, just above that 2000 level when it drops off. Right? And now you can see here coming into this week, we've corrected. Right? So even though we worked our way back up, right, to the top of that range, and then we collapsed. And this is a weekly chart, right? Keep that in mind. We are seemingly forming a low right here, right? So we've got a low, higher low, and now it's trying to form a support. Now, this is from the weekly perspective, meaning that when we go down to the daily and the 4 hours, that's already sitting there confirmed, right? So if we come down and look at this daily chart, okay, this range that it was dancing around in a bit, we get back above that 1938, we could be in business, right, for gold and getting back long again. Let's see what happens tomorrow with that CPI data. That's going to be the key, which way this wants to go. All right, so 830 is going to be big time tomorrow. So we're bullish right now, moving long. Okay, so you can see this is what I mean. On the weekly is not quite there yet, but it's well formed here on the daily. We've got another one here too. All right, so if we come in, use our smart support, we can see that we've got another level here that form right there. Okay. So we get above that, break and close above that 1938, we might be in business. You're at 1926. Oh yeah, so you're good. You're good, 1926.47. Yep. So you pulled the trigger on it. Well, it's moving. All right, it's moving. So let's go down to the 4 and see what we've got going on. So we're moving down and we formed that low. All right. And now it's moving, it's making a swing back long. Okay, so let's see. Let's just take these off. Get it from this perspective. Clear this up. We're just gonna play these levels. Just like so. That's a super clean look there. We're just gonna wait and see what happens with this level. Because it can go either way. Just like that. And it's been climbing. Got a nice swing. What we think, everybody? Joy, what you think?
I'm sorry. I had to pause something. So I was playing on the zone, and I want to wait before I exit out to see if it closed above and stay above the 1938 before making a decision, because because it looked like, I haven't looked at it all day, but it looks like a king crown right now, or like I want to say an oddly shaped head and inverted head and shoulders right now. So I'm looking at that de-extension, but the only reason why I made that move was based off the placement of the daily. And I was aiming for the daily 382. Because I actually ran another fib. So what I've been doing is running a fib at every C position that I see. And I believe that de-extension I made a manual fib. I believe that the extension goes just before that next boundary line where that doji is at, that little cross.
Okay.
But I know
Okay.
that's not the 382, but because how the news is going to come out for USD, and that was the other thing I was waiting for, because then if it come out more than expected, then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and exit out. But if it's least expected, I was gonna go ahead and hold to the next zone, because I think I'm comfortable doing zone to zone with gold.
Okay. Yep. Yep. That's a good way to trade it. That's a good way to trade it.
Okay. Because I played that off support. So but I remember you said to check the placement, and then that's the reason why I looked at the daily, and there's opportunity there. But again, it's weighing on the news from the US.
Okay. Okay. So let's see how we turn out. Right. But right now you're in the right direction. Not coming off that support. That's a good play. That's a really good play. Right. Past resistance becoming future support. Retesting that zone and that level, and it held. It held. That zone didn't break, and it made the U-turn. So let's see how it goes. All right. So that's that on gold. See which way it breaks tomorrow. I like the way that looks zone is on too. All right. So that's the gold setup. Let's take a look at the UCAD. All right. So we're looking at dollar weakness. We know, right? We know that's going to be a low on the lower charts. Let's keep control tomorrow with this. It's going to come down to that CPI report. We've got Canadian dollar news as well. Right. So you can see it's kind of just, it's been in that range for a bit. Right. This is where, if we look here, if you run those fibs to the downside, you see where we are, right? From a fib perspective, but right, this is moving sideways, right? It's a big sideways move there. Okay. Sometimes, hey, let's just look at it. Support and resistance. Okay? We know we've got a high here now. Our stochastic is in a sell zone. Right. So this zone held, we got a rejection. Okay. So we got that nice ABCD wave up. We got that trend line break on a lower time frame. Then it just collapsed, right? It came back to structure and just collapsed and turned it back over. So it's moving south right now. We've broken through some pretty good levels. I mean, that's a huge rejection there. Right? Got your little railroad track set up going on there. Nice bullish candle followed by a bearish candle that took it all away and moving back down. Dollar's been weird. The dollar caught a lot of people slipping, especially when you track bond yields, and bond yields went up, you expect the dollar to follow, and it did not. It did not. Right. And maybe it was because, Fed officials signaled they're coming to the end of potentially coming to the end of a tightening cycle. That's huge looking forward. Right. So you got a huge, correction to the downside. Okay, this is that daily one coming back down. Right. So we're looking around that 236 level. And we're just moving short right now. So if we get weaker CPI data tomorrow, you can see that dollar continue to sell off, because that's going to signal that, hey, the Fed might not be as aggressive moving forward with those hikes. They might pause. Right. We know that's been a battle back and forth with the market and the Fed. So that's where we are. Right. It's a beautiful reversal off the bottom, but it's taking it back. What do we think? Brian, what are your thoughts?
My bad, bro. I stepped away for a second. On this dollar CAD, I think, like you said, it's going to be leaning more on that CPI data and what they do. Could potentially be an 80-20 scenario if we push down into that zone. But yeah, if that CPI comes in, like price pushing down at 129.551, and then potentially seeing a reversal there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember we made the play off the correction, and it hit that. Well, we covered that. That was last week. We covered that swing, that ABCD swing, and it hit structure and then just collapsed. Right.
Yep.
So we take that A out, like you said, maybe we come back down, right? Either to retest that daily support or to move lower. So we're kind of a wait and see right now. So we got one wave out of it, and then that was it. That was it there. All right, off the trend line break. I remember that play off the trend. There it is, right here, off the one. All right, and then it just collapsed. So we shall see. We shall see tomorrow. Any questions on the dollar CAD?
No.
Oh. All right. Let's take a look at the CAD Swiss. Yeah. So you can see we're turning over. All right. So we could put that level in. Got to add that in over the weekend. All right. But on the lower time frames, you'll see how we had it drawn up for a breakout. Didn't know which direction, but all right, here's your daily. Okay. So we're moving down. Stochastics oversold right now. But here's what we had identified. All right. A week ago or so. All right, we want to see the breakout. And that's exactly what we got to the downside. Okay. So let's see what happens once we move in and we catch support. All right, that's a beautiful breakout move. Right, if we move our box out of the way, you can see right here at these levels. And when it broke, it broke. It broke, it consolidated, then it broke down again. So ideally, we want to see this come into support. Okay, 66.17 into the zone, and to see if we get any type of reaction on the CAD Swiss. Swiss is strong. We've got Canadian data coming out tomorrow, so let's wait and see. Okay, let's wait and see on the CAD Swiss. But I played it as a breakout. Straight down. Let me roll back. That's where at one point I had my fibs on there. Maybe not. Yeah, with the update. There we go. All right. So there we go. Right. We know we've been shallow. Right. We've gotten 2 range plays, 2 breakdowns on this. Okay. So let's see what happens again once we come into that support. We know we're technically in that 80-20 zone. We haven't hit a D yet. We haven't gotten a 38. Okay. We got a consolidation and a breakout to the downside, right? We've got another consolidation and a breakout to the downside. So it can't make his mind up right now. Here is another zone. right? Where price tightened and accumulated, then it broke out up into the next zone. Then we broke right back down. So we got to wait and see on the cash Swissy. Any questions?
On that, bro, you also have a potential crown pattern too. With that left
Right
tick
here?
being that first touch. Yeah, right in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It took out that high, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yep. So that test of that support. Good job spotting that. Testing that support is going to be huge. Really good job. So let's see what happens. All righty. And we had a request for the NZD CHF. All right, this was just bouncing around, right? Bouncing around at 54.30. Holding up pretty good. That level's holding pretty good. All right, so we already have it spotted and identified. Stochastics in the sell zone. Okay. We've got data coming up here at 10 o'clock. So here we go. That's how I have it marked up. So we're either going to break through the lows or this thing is going to start moving long. Okay. We know that Swissy is pretty strong. Let's see what happens. But 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. All right. But it's not only going to be that. We know we have the rate statement, right, that follows. So that's going to be important too. So we'll see if they hold, see if there's any surprises. But then we want to see what the forward guidance is on it as well, on the NZD Swissy. But this is how, Joy, is this how you have it sitting? This is how I'm playing it, at least. Playing the levels.
Yeah, I got it like that too.
Yeah, you got to sit there. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's been there multiple times, so it should be
I'm
interesting.
still in my original position.
Okay.
It didn't hit TP, and
Mhm.
I'm like about 30 cent in down draw, so I walked
Okay.
away from my computer.
Yeah, it's all good. It's gonna figure itself out. It's gonna figure itself out. Maybe tonight is the is the catalyst. Stops below the low on that. If it goes long, boy, that's a good setup. Tell you that. Tell you that one. If that holds. So see what happens. NZD Swiss. That's that. I want to take a look at any other requests. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. All right. So I want to take a look at the pounds. I want to look at this this pound Aussie scenario because it is continuing long, which is good. Got the direction right on that. Okay. So we're still trying to chase that monthly D extension on that pound Aussie, and it's running. Okay, it's running. You can see the crown work. Right? You guys can see the crown work, the crown reversal. You know, people call it a whole bunch of other stuff now, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. Okay. That's a crown, 100%. Right? It's moving. So we finally gotten above, right? Remember a while back, everybody, where we had an issue, right? It was going long, boom, it broke down, it hit that monthly zone and it collapsed. But look, it made that U-turn. And now we're finally above that monthly zone. Okay. You even have here on your stochastic where it's made a higher low on the stochastic, push back to the upside. All right. So bulls for the most part have been in control. Right. So we see this here. Okay. Turn around, made a U-turn, continue higher after that push. Okay. So here we are on the 4. There's that rejection, right? Rejection. Okay. We just hang in there. Right? We just hang in there, or we get back in, however. But we hold our directional bias. Everybody drop me one if we understand that, right? How important it is to try to develop a directional bias the best you can from the top down. It takes a while psychologically to get there, right? We all struggle with it at times, all right? Some of us, if we're new, you probably struggle with it all the time. We're just here to let you know that it's okay, right? But when you combine fundamentals with the technicals and you say, wow, like, okay, I'm getting these corrections. First of all, it's a pound pair. The corrections are going to be large. The pounds move. Okay, it's a major mover. But what reason do I have to be overall bearish on the pound, right? Besides the correction plays when they hit our 80-20 zone. And because we know price reaches a high price in the zone and it corrects, but that doesn't change our overall directional bias, right? That just takes us back to an established low price and we make the decision whether or not we want to counter trend trade them. But overall, right, and the power of trading small is what fundamentally has changed in regards to the pound and inflation being, way above its target, and that there's a possibility of continued rate hikes with the pound, right, that would change our sentiment overall on the pound. Nothing, right? And you can see that it's continued even after large corrections, that has continued to move long. Okay, and that's the beauty of being on these charts every day, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in the morning and evening, and then on Saturdays, is you actually get to see it play out. And that's the most important thing. That's why we tell you to think of things in pips and percentages, right? And then do your due diligence and make sure that you're on the charts, right? And watching the price action. And you guys know, right? We've been on this week after week after week. We remember when price moved high. We remember when it broke low. We remember, right, when price was at 184.95 daily support. Okay. Repetition is the mother of all skill. All right, so we're moving along. So here's the weekly D extension. We're chasing that daily D extension right now on the 4. And so far, so good, right? So if we come down here to the 1, we're just following the waves. Okay. We're just following the wave. See? Here's the smaller wave here. We've got a correction. So we're moving. 1 hour stochastic moving back into the buy zone. How far does it want to correct? Do we retest this level that we finally broke to? We get there? Maybe, maybe not, right? We're right here in this zone here. Okay. Starting to hold up a little bit. Maybe we get a retest of that level. I'll be watching that. Okay. I'll be watching that. Eventually, right, we're going to look to finish out. Okay, on the pound Aussie. So pound Aussie long. Any questions? Oh. All right. Pound CAD. Okay. Moving along. Okay. It's moving along. Look at the push. Okay. That's moving to the upside. All right. We'll put a daily fib on that. We want. All right. Pretty much a double bottom off the 382, right at weekly support at 160. 76. It got choppy. It got rangy. Right? One of our awesome team members, Jeremy, found a crown in the range. And we're gone. We're long. Okay. You guys in long on that, right? Secure the bag, lock in your profits. That's been running for a while to the upside, and we've got Canadian data coming out tomorrow. In addition to the US CPI that can impact everything. TP hit. All right, Joy. All right, right back at 171.45 as a weekly level. We got a reaction there last time. Okay. Great work. Great work. So we've been spot on. Look at that swing. Look at that break in that retest. Doesn't get any cleaner than that. Great job, everybody. Proud of this group. Great job. Patience pays. Okay. That's the pound CAD. Pound Swissy. All right. Now we got this Swissy. The Swiss is putting up a fight with this one now. This one started out promising, then it started moving sideways on us again. All right, but that's okay. Too strong currency. Somebody's got to win the battle. All right. So we moved up off the lows and now we're moving sideways. Okay. We can see that reflected here in the price action. It's all good. Still within that AB boundary. So we got a great push up. Then we collapsed back down. Okay. So we'll see. We're going to see what's happening. 4 hours back in the buy zone. It's moving sideways right now. So that one's still in play. We'll see what happens tomorrow. See if any of the data tomorrow impacts that. But that's where we are on that one. Still doing this thing. So hopefully we get the bulls to take control of that. Back control. Move back long. Any questions on the pound Swissy?
Oh,
No, sir.
Alrighty. Pound yen. Jump in and take a look. All right. Got this fib running from the monthly. Trying to get to that D extension. Right. We got price correcting. Okay. Price correcting. Okay, this is me playing around today with it. There's that ABCD wave. This is a manual one because the other one didn't pop in yet. But you can see we hit that daily D extension there. And we've got a correction going on now. Okay. Stochastic's back in the buy zone. There's that monthly D extension just above it. Okay. So if that D extension was hit, this is our C right at that 155.41 weekly level. That's good confluence there. Key fib level, higher time frame support. Okay. So now we're getting this correction. So the question is, right? Our stochastic on the daily is back in the buy zone. We're looking oversold. So the momentum may be slowing to that downside. Do we make this U-turn and move up to tap that D extension, that monthly D extension, which will put us at the monthly level of resistance, 188.65 and then the 80.20 zone. All right. But for right now, all right, if we come down to the 4, that's what that correction is looking. Okay. That's what the correction is looking. Daily D extension hit. We're correcting off this 4-hour wave. All right. That's stochastic, 4-hour stochastic back in the buy zone. So there might be a situation where we get a bounce off that 236. Then if we come down to the 1, you'll see the setup on the smaller wave out of that 118 zone off this 1 hour. Okay. There we go. Lower the time frame, the smaller the wave. You can see, so we've gone from a daily D extension being hit, which is always huge, to a 4-hour new AB boundary, right? 4-hour way smaller than the daily. Price is turning over. And then we've got price that went up to touch the 118, 127 zone on the 1 and correct. Okay. So let's continue to watch it. Now, we're in a situation where, yes, we've got to sell off with the yen. Bank of Japan, rhetoric is important. Bank of Japan saying, hey, keep an eye on this, right? On yen weakness. You guys are making a run on this yen, getting a little too aggressive, right? So without them having to do anything in regards to intervention, it's just thought of the intervention, right? Think about that. Words matter. Okay? Just the thought of an intervention on top of, you know, possible recession fears in certain parts of the globe, right? To strengthen those safe haven currencies, but you've got the free market at play, right? So look at the correction that happened. Ryan said it for week after week. Hey, those yens are getting high. We're looking for corrections on those yens. And you can see it across the board pretty much with the yen pairs price correcting. Okay. Ryan has covered those in detail. And so I hope everybody was able to catch some pips off these yen crosses. Pretty good payout, right? Once they turned over. But with that being said, Japan hasn't stepped in to intervene. Japan, when you look at the inflation data that came out, is low. So there's no motivation for them to change their monetary policy. And we know it's ultra loose. So until any of that changes, right, we know there's always a possibility of a major safe haven type of event that occurs that creates fear in the market that can strengthen the yen because it is a safe haven. But other than that, we have to look at these moves on the yen as corrections, right? As corrections, because there's been no change in their monetary policy. Okay. So in other words, what I'm saying is once we get some established low prices on these time frames with these yen crosses, unless anything changes, we're gonna probably look to get long. Okay. So be patient. If you're playing them short right now after correction, congratulations, right? But if you miss the corrections, we're looking for low prices to eventually get back long on the yen. Okay. So maybe we get a correction. This would be lovely to come down on the 4 hour to retest that 172.34, this daily, this monthly level. That would be beautiful, right? But we have to wait and see. Maybe we get a drive up to the 118, 127 zone, then price will step down. We don't know yet, but we can have our chart set up and ready to make the move when it happens. Jeremy, you missed all of the corrections. That's all right. That's all right. You've been with us for quite some time. We just smile and say, there's another move right around the corner. It's another move right around the corner. Joy, you said you had a question on Microsoft.
Yeah. So I was reading an article in New York Times.
Uh-oh.
And they're not a good source. Dang. But
No, they
basically
are. They are.
the FTC. Oh, they are? Okay, cool. Let me go back to the article then. Basically it seemed like the FTC had put a lawsuit out on Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon. And basically what happened was that a judge overruled and prevented the FTC to block a merger between Microsoft and the makers of Call of Duty. And so what happened was once the word got out, of course, the stock shot up 10%. And I'm like, dang, because I was looking at it when it was low, and I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone because they going through a lawsuit, and I left it alone. So of course, I didn't purchase, so it is what it is. But when I was thinking about going back on the conversation that was had on Nivea. Now, Nivea is basically a company that really didn't have high profits, and it's like, why is it surging anyway? Just because of the news that they had, which is different than what Call of Duty is, because everybody, I don't play it, but everybody play that game. So when we start seeing companies doing acquisitions and stuff like that, is it best just to let the market move and to see if price is going to come back to where it broke out, or with stocks, is it like good to do like dollar cost averaging? Because I don't think nobody gonna stop buying Call of Duty.
It depends on especially with stocks, with anything really, but it depends on the situation and the underlying ramifications of any type of merger, right? And because you're always gonna have your major monster companies like Microsoft, but then you also have your suppliers, right? And everything that everybody that and every company that works around Microsoft, right? That benefits from Microsoft doing well, or can be impacted by something negative happening to Microsoft. So while Microsoft is a behemoth, you know what I mean? They can
Mhm.
absorb something like that. Maybe you get a quick correction, but it can cause a deeper, a deeper move to the downside with some of their suppliers and people associated with Microsoft. So what I'm going to say is it all depends on what the situation is, right? There's no universal way of looking at that because
Mhm.
it just depends on what the situation is, why the lawsuit is occurring, why the merger is occurring, and the underlying ramifications of the impact that it can have on, companies around, Microsoft, or because they're so huge, the tech sector as a whole, so
Right.
you really have to do your individual research, for each one of those cases.
Well, the one thing when I was going over it, the FTC is trying to stop, like these tech startup companies from what capital, how they say, how they progressively move and make gains and that they found illegal actions. But like the judge was like, in the article, it was saying like, y'all just can't go after every single person in these tech companies and just throw lawsuits everywhere just because you feel like it. And I mean, that's how I was reading it. I'll share the article if anybody got New York Times to open it. But it's like when you see mergers like that, it's like with Bed Bath Beyond, it was advantage just to sell, because we knew that the company was gonna go out, so go ahead and sell and get rid of it. But when you start seeing these, the tech sector had got hit very hard. But then when you start seeing, these acquisitions or these little startup companies, it's like, how can I get the valid or know where to go to get that valid information to do the research? Just go to their ticker and just look at the company and research that.
You can start there.
Okay.
You can start there. You can start there. Ryan, what's your take on that?
So the couple things. Yahoo Finance is a good resource.
Yeah,
Bloomberg. When it comes to fundamental data, Bloomberg, and then going to the company's website and going to the investor tab on their website and reading any new releases, publications that they have, because they publicize a lot of the stuff. Now, some of it, a lot of times, is lagging to get like forward information. A lot of these companies, they're paying for those that advanced information a lot of times when it comes to those mergers and what the numbers behind it look like. But the investor tab a lot of times can give you insight on what they're thinking when they put out CEOs. They'll send out notifications to their investors. Those notifications also get published on that investor tab. So digging through there to look at any information there could also give you some insight on what they might be thinking, what they might be talking about, and hints on what they could be looking at for future.
Okay. I think I can follow you. I think I follow you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So most of those websites, if you literally scroll all the way down to the bottom, right, you'll have some internal links, and one of those would be it'll say investors. And that's where all their investment information lives.
Okay. Thank you.
But it's always going to be interesting with those, right? Because there's, like Benny said, it's a lot of times situational on what's happening behind the scenes, and sometimes you won't know what's happening behind the scenes until after that acquisition has already been finalized. So some of that data will be lagging sometimes.
So I just can't be like, everybody buy Call of Duty.
Listen,
no,
unless you know somebody you can what was that documentary you watched, Benny? Unless you know somebody where you can make a backdoor phone call to.
Listen, I do not want to go to camp.
I'm gonna post that to Catch a Trader. That was fascinating. Stevie quote.
It was,
yeah.
Man. It was.
Yeah. So good question, Joy. Good, really good question. But one day we're gonna grow this group so large that we're just gonna buy the Bloomberg terminal subscription.
Bro, real talk.
Like 30,000 a year or whatever, whatever it is. I don't know. It's insane. But yep, good stuff. So always good conversation in this group. So let's finish up taking a look at these pound pairs, right? So they're running. Okay, we got the NZD data coming up, but it's a mess, but you can see we're moving along. So pound New Zealand 210.42 is trying to get there, right, to that level. If we come down to the daily, we can see, all right, ABCD trying to get there, climbing. Daily stochastic is in the buy zone. All right, making higher highs and higher lows. So that's the target. Somewhere up in there, there's that weekly level mixed in with the daily level. So got some levels to break through, but we're long. We're long for the most part. So if we come down through the 4, okay, here we can see we're just shot at 382. Right, we caught that weekly support level of 197.47, and it's just running. All right, 4-hour stochastic is overbought. So we can pull this level out of here now. But overall bullish, right? We're sitting pretty high. And that's the beauty, right? So if you have a busy lifestyle, if you're working, that's the power of swing trading. You do your preparation on the weekend and you just let the charts run. Right? I don't even know. Yeah, I can. You just let your charts run. Yeah. So we're moving along. We don't have a 382 here on the 1. Okay. Stochastics in the buy zone. It's been pretty aggressive, right? They've been pricing in further rate hikes for the pound. That's what that looks like. Okay, power of the fundamentals and knowing what's going on with the market. So we're moving along. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. See what happens at 10 o'clock. Once that NZD data comes out, do we form a low at this level, get back above that 208 and continue long, or do we see a further correction to the downside? Overall, that bias is still low. Questions on the pound NZD?
No, sir.
All right. So let's look at this last pound pair and the pound dollar. We were spot on this one too, right? We've been doing a great job with this group, everybody. Great teamwork. Great teamwork. So we're moving along. Okay. Market moves up, down, and sideways. We see that now. It's true. Okay. Long pound dollar, right? Having another strong week to the upside. Coming to the daily. Okay. I thought this was going to give a correction at some point sooner, but it's continued to move long ahead of the CPI. Okay. We're still moving. Up off this. Look at that. Has resistance becoming future support. Moving along. Okay. We're moving along. That's beautiful price action. Okay. Some point, okay, what we want to look out for on this pair. Maybe, depending on that data that's coming out. You see, I don't know where nothing is. But anyway, oh, there it is up here. Okay. So, right, maybe we get a check back. Has resistance becomes future support. Okay. We get long. Here we are on the 1, right, which is where we at. It's coming in. That's about to hit target, everybody. On the 1 hour. That's that target, matter of fact. Okay. That's a textbook ABCD move. Okay. A, B, I see low. Lowest point within the AB boundary. And there's the swing. Okay. We know we've got some higher targets for sure. Okay. Secure your bag, right? We know we've got data coming out tomorrow. Maybe you trail your stop. Maybe you say, you know, I've had enough for now. I'll catch the next pullback. But we know we could potentially move higher. Okay, so think about it. Where you start to have that monetary policy divergence creep in is you have Fed officials out here saying that, hey, we're reaching the end of our tightening cycle. That could mean, yeah, they're going to do 1 or 2 more 25 basis point hikes, or maybe not. But even if that means they're going to do that, the market's looking at, hey, we're already pricing that in on the dollar, right? You see the dollar U-turn and going to the downside. So, hey, that's already priced in, but we're still in the process of pricing in further pound rate hikes. Okay. So you don't hear them in the UK right now saying we're getting towards the end of our rate hiking cycle. But you're starting to hear that in the United States, right? For some of the Fed officials. So, right. Words matter. Words matter. So that's the ABCD wave, right? Okay. That's nice. So, right off that 61.8 play to that extension, over 360 pips. That's with the trend. Okay. That's with the trend. That's saying, hey, I have a directional bias. Okay. You had an 80-20 on this 1 hour, right? That gave you, right, out of that zone. That took you down to 61.8 at 250. Now you're over 360 to the upside. And we literally play the same game over and over. You don't see a straight from that. Right? Unless we see a sideways move and we're playing breakouts, we do the same thing. It's a very simple concept once you get it. Any questions on the pound dollar?
Nope.
No. Any questions on anything that we covered tonight? Any Call of Duty questions for Joy? No,
I'm
we
just
sure?
saying, them kids be online, not the Roblox card, buying cars, playing that game. It ain't gonna never go out of business.
Kids, it's a grown men
Oh
playing
yeah,
Call of
grown
Duty
man, my
now.
bad.
They got
Grown
full
men playing
competition
Call of
around that
Duty.
junk, man.
Oh yeah, it's serious. It's big money, you know. So, all
One
right.
thing to note on that,
Mhm.
I believe PlayStation said in the next PlayStation console they release, I believe they're going to open up the ability to play with other consoles.
Xbox. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are. They are.
That's a month to look at too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a monster. That's a monster
Yeah.
move there. So, oh yeah, the gaming industry is, man. Just when you think they can do it, they've done it all. It's like it's something new. So,
Just
Man,
think about it. Old boy didn't get his butt whooped in the little gaming thing for no reason. He spent his parents' savings on it. I'm telling you, God, Call of Duty. It's gonna be, it's gonna be forever and a day. The stock is only $90.
Joy said it first.
exactly. Well, that's all I got. Ryan, anything else before we wrap up, sir?
Just a quick note, New Zealand did hold the rate.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they did hold the rate. So yeah, that's that. Other than that, man, good people, continue to stay the course. I said it this morning, I'll say it again. Continue to stay the course. Continue putting in the work. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. And it will pay off as long as you continue to put in the work and focus on the process, not the end result.
That's it. That's it. Well said. Great way to end the session. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage, for the P New York session. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.